We will not go down without a fight. We will not vanish silently into the night, for today we celebrate our Independence Day. That's right. If I didn't review Independence Day on Independence Day, then what the heck would this series even be? Let's get right into the alien fighting, shoot 'em up, America goes action, baby.
Put a little weekend in your week. Rent a video.
Independence Day, one of the biggest blockbusters of the 90s, an undeniable science fiction classic that really revitalized the alien invasion genre. I still find it a shame that H.G. Wells' classic War of the Worlds has never been given a very interesting movie adaptation, because technically it's pretty much the exact same story as Independence Day, but what the heck. Independence Day is a fun and cool and pretty awesome alien invasion movie in its own right, and I definitely prefer to any adaptation of War of the Worlds out there. War of the Worlds does deserve better than an Orson Welles radio play, though. Independence Day. Everyone knows it. It's the only movie that can really fit with the 4th of July. I mean, what other movie are you gonna watch? Sure, there are plenty of patriotic movies, but I mean, this does for Independence Day what Groundhog Day does for Groundhog Day and Leprechaun with Warwick Davis does for St. Patrick's Day. I mean, this is just a gosh darn holiday movie here. On the back here, it says, ID4 is undeniably fun, from David Denby at the New York Magazine. I would tend to agree. ID4 is undeniably fun. It is a gosh darn fun movie. Here on the front of the case, this is one of my 3D cases, which is just a really cool innovation that, as far as I can tell, no DVD has stuff like this. I mean, look at this. So you got a fun little animation of the flying saucer over the White House, and then the blue beam shoots out of it at the White House, and then it blows up and explodes. Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. Ooh, nice, yeah. I don't like this 3D cover quite as much as I do the Star Trek 3D covers, but it comes pretty close. I mean, this is a cool animation here. And, to just think that they used to be able to program all this cool stuff into little 3D grooves so you could watch like a little mini movie on the cover of a thing. I mean, that was just pretty amazing. Independence Day, with the weird formatted title of ID4, which makes it sound like it's the 4th in a series, even though it's actually the 1st. And no character refers to Independence Day as ID in the movie, because that sounds really stupid. But yeah, Independence Day is anything but stupid. It's a gosh darn blast. Now, there are some criticisms that have been levied against the movie. For one, it's very America-centric, and that can be annoying. Some people claim that I'm a nationalist just because I praise America sometimes. That doesn't mean I'm a nationalist, it just means I admit that America can do some things right. When America doesn't do things right, I point out when America doesn't do things right. And it also just so happens that I'm used to America because it's the only country I've ever known. I haven't been exposed to other countries. I haven't jet-setted around the world, so sue me. Even so, I can tell when a movie is very nationalistic. And Independence Day is a gosh darn American movie. Every 5 seconds, pushing it down your throat. This is an American movie, baby. We start out with the shot of the moon and the American flag on the moon. None of that Soviet shit, because they didn't do anything in this space race. Only America did, baby. And then all the scenes are set in America, except for 2 5-second montages of the other countries. And in an alien invasion, the entire world would be taking part. Why don't we see more of that, you know? Why not? I mean, my gosh, it just doesn't make any sense. But anywho, Independence Day is very fervent about shoving its American identity down your throat. So if you're not American, then this isn't the movie for you, okay? This isn't the movie to celebrate to. Watch your Patriots Day movie or your Guy Fawkes movie or whatever movie you've got. This is a gosh darn movie about the 4th of July right here. This is an American spectacle, baby. Everything is bigger and brighter and more alien-tastic here in America. You got like this sequence where there are these British guys and they're like, "Oh, America's come up with a plan to help fight the aliens. It's about bloody time." And it's like, geez, Britain, what were you doing all this while? Just sitting around on your asses? I doubt Britain would be much help in an alien invasion. The European Union would probably have to step up and do everything on Britain's behalf. But that said, I think this movie is very American-centric. The speech that's given at the end says, this will not just be an American holiday anymore, this will be a worldwide holiday. So basically, America pushing its holiday down everyone's throats, and it's not Cinco de Mayo anymore, now it's Cuatro de Julio up in this pizzazz.
Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July.
I just think that's like really, man, it's the kind of movie you could only get away with in the 90s is what I'm saying. But god damn it, if you can't love Independence Day, I mean, like the quote on the back says, it is undeniably fun. Every moment is jam-packed with spectacle and stuff to watch and stuff to enjoy. I mean, it's just such a gosh darn fun movie. One quote I think explains Independence Day really well comes from the team by Mars Attacks, which came around coincidentally at the same time. And you know, both are about alien invasions and both feature big ensemble casts, and they kind of have the exact same plot when you think about it. But Tim Burton says that if Independence Day is fail-safe, then Mars Attacks is Dr. Strangelove. And I'd have to say that's sort of true. I wouldn't say Independence Day's a drama. There's a lot of comic relief in it. It never gets too heavy. I mean, even when like millions of people are being scorched and fried out of their heads, it never really gets to the point where you're like, oh, this is too bleak for me to keep watching. You want to see what the humans do to the aliens, baby. You want that sweet, sweet payback when they blow that alien mothership out of the sky and say, humans rule, you know? I mean, you're not going to stop watching Independence Day. I do think Mars Attacks is the more realistic movie, if we're being honest, because in this movie, everyone is a hero, and in Mars Attacks, everyone is an idiot. And I would also argue that you will have a lot more fun watching Mars Attacks. Unfortunately, I don't have Mars Attacks on VHS. I need to go out and look for it. I need to bring it home, because Mars Attacks is even funner than this. But this is a fun alien invasion movie in its own right. Digitally mastered with THX. If you hate VHSs, I assume you've forgotten about THX. Oh my god, VHSs can be digitally mastered by a team of professionals to look and sound good? I always thought they were mastered by a college grad in his basement while he's eating Fritos. No, guess what, idiot? Big movie studios knew how to put movies on the popular format at the time. And this movie looks and sounds flipping awesome. So, we got Jeff Goldblum, one of my all-time favorites. He got chased by a T-Rex and saved the world from alien annihilation in the same decade, which is a feat not too many people can brag about. I think Independence Day is his other great role. After that, he kind of vanished into obscurity, but man, oh man, it was good while it lasted. Jeff Goldblum, you were a true treasure to cinema. The hot nerd.
Well, I found a signal hidden inside our own satellite system.
You also have Brent Spiner in here as the not hot nerd who's just kind of an average nerd, and I think Brent Spiner does a wonderful job.
Since these guys started showing up, all the little gizmos inside turned on.
His character is a lot of fun. His role is kind of short, but I think Brent Spiner gives a wonderful performance as the wacky mad genius. And then, of course, you have Will Smith, a year before Men in Black. This is his first big Hollywood film role before he became a household name on everyone's lips. And sure, he was already the Fresh Prince, but this is the movie where he transforms from the Fresh Prince into the gosh darn Fresh King. This is the movie where Will Smith really comes into his own, really defines his persona for the next decades to come, and it's great to see Will Smith still continuing 20 gosh darn years later, doesn't show any sign of stopping. Man's an absolute legend. I watched Men in Black at a young age, and I really enjoyed it. And here, he also battles with aliens, and it's just so gosh darn fun and epic. The back of the box here says, one of the biggest box office hits of all time delivers the ultimate encounter when mysterious and powerful aliens launch an all-out invasion against the human race. The spectacle begins when massive spaceships appear in Earth's skies, but wonder turns to terror as the ships blast destructive beams of fire down on cities all over the planet. Now the world's only hope lies with a determined band of survivors, uniting for one last strike against the invaders before it's the end of mankind. Of course, in this, you have yet another fictional president who's not the real president. Bill Pullman as the president. Bill Pullman, I feel, is a very underrated actor, and it's nice to see him play the president. I think he really deserves to play the president, and he plays a good president. He plays the kind of president that would be appealing to the American public, because he's just kind of a weakling. He's not a big, strong, imposing figure. He's just kind of a demure, timid little milquetoast. And I think that's very interesting. And I think Bill Pullman does not get enough credit for the roles he's had. He hasn't had too many, but the ones he's had are very good. He's the main guy in Spaceballs. Most people don't even know that. Most people just think the main guy in Spaceballs is Kurt Russell. I know they look kind of similar, but Bill Pullman is not Kurt Russell. He's a different guy, for gosh sakes.
You just don't have a choice. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, Bill Pullman's the president, and Brent Spiner, Jeff Goldblum, and Will Smith, an ensemble cast that leads to a real star-packed spectacle. One thing I will say about this movie, I do have a few critiques of it, is that, for one, the bit with Area 51 is not believable, because the president is like, Area 51, I've never heard of this place, what is this? And it's like, at the time this movie came out, Area 51 was not a secret. It was not a flipping, like, obscure thing. It was already in all sorts of conspiracy theories. Because, believe it or not, Area 51 is not invisible, it's just fenced off. People have seen this remote installation out in the middle of the desert since, like, the 60s at least, and wondered, what are they doing in here? And then, like, Will Smith says to the guy in the trailer, like, hey, go up to this military installation. And he's like, it's not on a map. And it's like, yeah, Area 51 isn't on a map? Like, yeah, right. I mean, it's not invisible. It's not even underground. It's right out in plain sight. The only reason it's garnered the reputation it has is because if you get too close to it, soldiers will come out and say, hey, I'm gonna shoot you if you come any closer. That's the kind of thing that's going to attract suspicion at the very least. I mean, I honestly don't know why Area 51 still exists at this point. It seems like it's the only spot where the military is still using like the mentality of the 1950s, where it's like, yes, if we set up 100 armed men outside this compound, nobody will ever have any questions about what's inside. And I think Area 51 is just like an unhealthy, just open it up already. Whatever's in there, it's not interesting enough to hide from the public. And if it's aliens, okay, it's aliens. Good job, you put one over on us. But my point is, the American public have the right to know. If it's a stealth bomber, fine. Nobody gives a shit about a stealth bomber. People care about the aliens. That's what people give a shit about. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I will say that if there are aliens, if they have ever crash landed, the only place they would be secure is probably Area 51, because nobody has ever gotten in there without clearance. And I think that's unhealthy. I don't think a country can operate keeping that many secrets from its people. I was around for the whole Storm Area 51 thing. They can't stop all of us. And then everyone just acted like it was a silly joke. And I'm drinking Capri Suns out here with these armed military officials. I don't really care about finding out the truth about, this facility. I just want to play basketball out here. It's going to be like Woodstock, man. We're not going to go in Area 51. We're just going to camp out here and smoke weed. I thought it was an actual protest to actually, force the government to, loosen up and, reform a little. But I guess these days people are such cowards that they're not willing to do that, which is a real shame, because if there are aliens in there, it would be beneficial to everyone to just know about it. And if it's, a new type of robot dog or something, nobody's gonna give a shit. That's commonplace nowadays. We live in a high-tech world, so whatever the U.S. military's got, even if it's not alien-powered, I think, nobody would be that, oh shit, I can't handle this. Open it up to the public, rent some tours. There's no reason why Area 51 shouldn't get tours like the White House or the Mint or, any other government institution. Quit the bullshit. But anywho, back to Area 51 and Independence Day. I just think it's bizarre how nobody has heard of Area 51 in this universe. Like, what the frick? The President of the United States hasn't even heard of Area 51 in a passing mention?
As you can imagine, they don't let us out much.
And this is what I think would be really smart, like a really smart twist, right? What if, they have a secret Area 52 and Area 51 is just a decoy, right? That'd be a fun twist. But to have it just be Area 51, the place everyone knows there are aliens, if there are aliens, and then you got mentions of Roswell, New Mexico and stuff. If people know about Roswell in this universe, why don't they know about Area 51? Clearly this movie knows about Area 51. How the shit don't the characters in the movie know about Area 51? That just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that's one complaint I have against the movie, the whole Area 51 thing. I mean, Area 51, this movie looks awesome. You got Brent Spiner coming out in his wacky lab coat being like, here's the flippin' secrets, and here's the test tubes full of aliens, and here's the alien spacecraft we've got. It's just so cool to see it. And, I'm sure actual Area 51 isn't that cool. I mean, it's probably just some, just some fighter jet or something. So, I mean, all the sets look really nice, including Area 51. The other thing that doesn't really seem to make much sense in this is that the aliens park their flying saucers, the first three, over Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and New York. And Los Angeles and New York, I get, those are the two biggest cities in America, but why Washington, D.C.? Because, I mean, think about this from the aliens' perspective. They don't know that Washington, D.C. is where the president lives. They'd have no way of really knowing that. I think they go over Chicago, which is the third largest city in America. Washington, like if they were going by the lights that they can see from, the outer space, I think they just look at Washington D.C. and go, oh, this is just kind of a patch of gardens and fountains and stuff. We don't need to focus so much on this. We should focus on L.A. on the West Coast, New York on the East Coast, and Chicago in the middle. Like, why target two cities on the East Coast, one on the West Coast? And I've made this point before, America is mostly land, barely any of its coast. And the other cities are, like, not mentioned at all. Like, it's mentioned that after Washington and New York and LA, the aliens will move to, the other cities and take them out, like, Houston, and I think Philadelphia is mentioned once. What about Denver, Denver always gets left out. Like, I gotta wonder, did the aliens consider Denver a major city or not? Or, what's Denver's status in this whole thing? It's always such a letdown when there's a movie about a big apocalypse or a, big event, and oh dang, New York is getting demolished, and Washington D.C. is getting demolished, and LA is getting demolished. That's okay. I don't live in any of those places. What's happening in Denver? Do the aliens just see Denver and they're like, yeah, okay, we don't need to worry about that. I looked on the Independence Day wiki, and they didn't even have a page for Denver. That's how little it's mentioned in either movie, this or the sequel. It's not mentioned once, and I just find that, bizarre. Wouldn't it at least be mentioned in the list of cities the aliens are going to destroy next? This seems to take place in a universe where there's only, 3 or 4 cities in America. I just find that weird, I don't live in LA. Why should I care? And one of the previews on this is for the movie Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones, which is another movie about a big catastrophic disaster in Los Angeles. Oh dang, whatever will I do? I live 1,000 miles away in Colorado, and you got San Andreas with Dwayne Johnson. Oh no, an earthquake is shattering apart all the Californian cities. Whatever will I do? I don't live in California. I live 1,000 miles away in Denver. Seems like Denver just never gets mentioned, and I just don't get it. Why wouldn't the aliens make Denver a priority? Sure, it's not the biggest city. It's pretty big. It would pose a pretty big risk to the aliens. My gosh. I'm frankly insulted that the aliens would not want to come here and wipe Denver out. They show up with their big blue laser beams on New York and LA and don't even give Denver a chance. You suck, aliens. Leaving Denver out of this massive spectacle. I want Denver to get destroyed into a heap of rubble. That's what I'm looking forward to, aliens. You come back next time for Independence Day 3, and you better show Denver some attention. You unequal invaders who don't pay enough attention to the cities that really matter. That's what I say. So you got the Statue of Liberty crumbling on the back of the case here. I don't know if that's in the movie. I guess it is in the movie. And this is yet another movie where the Statue of Liberty is used in an impactful way, along with Planet of the Apes, and I believe Ghostbusters 2. It is directed, of course, by Roland Emmerich. And as it turns out, this is an offshoot of his earlier movie, Stargate, one of the worst sci-fi movies of all time, which led to one of the most dumpster fire sci-fi franchises of all time, including such amazing entries as Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe, Stargate Across the Threshold, Stargate Aquiana, Stargate Pizzeria, and so on and so forth.
Yes, very nice indeed.
I just find it really crazy that this is directed by the same guy as a garbage movie like Stargate. Even though it's got Kurt Russell, it is one of the most laughable science fiction movies of all time. One of those movies that was just so big in the 90s, and then afterwards nobody remembered it. It's pretty flippin' wild. But yeah, this is directed by Roland Emmerich. I mean, the guy's a good director. He's directed some good stuff, but Stargate is not one of them. This, however, is one of them. This is a really good movie. And I honestly don't think this has anything to do with Stargate, even though it was created off the back of a question Roland was asked. I think this is just more like an updated version of the old 50s alien invasion classics, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, Day the Earth Stood Still. It's really nice to see the alien invasion genre revamped and revitalized for a new generation to enjoy.
Oh, they're closing up on us. Is that closing? Shut up! Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster. Go, 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 go!
This movie's got it all. The big flying saucers moving over the planet, the fleet of angry, ships and space battles, and it's just so much fun. It's just so awesome. And of course, with this movie, you see one of the first instances of the big blue laser of death, which at this point was not a cliche yet, so you can't fault Independence Day for using it. It hadn't been done in Avengers Endgame and Fantastic Four and Rise of the Silver Surfer and all these other hundreds of movies yet, so you can't hate on Independence Day for using it. It invented it, pretty much. At least as far as I can tell. There's a preview on here for the Independence Day game, which came out on PlayStation, and from what I can tell is mostly an air combat type video game with, you're flying around in the air and you're trying to shoot up the alien ships, which is a theme I think fits a lot with the movie. The movie has a lot of alien ship versus fighter jet battles, so to pitch you in the fighter jet against all these fiendish aliens and the mothership and all that, it sounds like a pretty fun premise for a video game. I'm not a gamer, in case you couldn't tell, but I'm sure many people really enjoyed the Independence Day video game. It looks decent, and the preview is pretty flippin' awesome. It touts that the game is coming out on Windows 95 systems soon, and it's like, man, Windows 95? You don't say. This is some high-tech shit.
Independence Day, coming soon to PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and Windows 95 CD-ROM.
Here you got Jeff Goldblum hacking into the system. He's a real tech gizmo. He's a real, he's a hot nerd, but he's also big into the computers. And there's the bit where his dad is like, hey, you'll catch a cold, and he's like, oh my gosh, cold? Virus. I can give the computer a virus. And then everyone is like, virus? I did not know a computer could get sick. What's a virus?
Sorry, I don't understand. How exactly do we infect the mothership with this virus?
Computers can catch a virus? Like, it's just pretty wild how ignorant everyone is to tech, except Jeff Goldblum, the hottest nerd on the planet. Gosh dang, he really carries his Jurassic Park energy with him here. By this point, of course, Goldblum was already a big star because he was in Jurassic Park, and he really shines in this. I would suggest watching this and Jurassic Park back to back if you want a good, solid Goldblum spectacle. And if you want a little contrast, maybe try watching this and Mars Attacks back to back, because they're both pretty much the same movie, but with very different takes on everything. and they both have their own pros and cons. This movie, I would say, definitely succeeds in the special effects department. The special effects look so flipping fresh. They look so good. All the sets are great. I think there's some CGI used, but it's very sparingly in comparison with the nice, cool sets and nice effects. And this was just back when, you had to take a movie seriously. You had to really put in some effort. I think one of the most iconic bits is when Will Smith opens the ship up and he's like, "Welcome to Earth," and he hits the alien in the face.
That's what I call a close encounter.
I'm not gonna lie, as far as science fiction goes, Independence Day is absolute garbage. It has nothing to say about our place in the universe or, what man will do when first contact happens. These aliens, they just want to kill people. And in many ways, it's as ludicrous as the Martians in Mars Attacks, who just want to kill people. But here it's presented as like, this is serious. Or like I said, Independence Day never gets too heavy-handed, but it definitely has a more like serious slant. And I just find that hilarious, because no alien species just wants to kill without any reason.
What is it you want us to do?
And the reason given is that, they want all our natural resources. And it's like, they have entire flipping ships. Don't they have enough resources? I think they do. I think they have as many resources as anyone could ever want. I mean, this is just not a compelling, space story at all. The aliens have no characterization. There's the point where President Bill Pullman is like, "Hey, what do you want? We'll make a deal." And the aliens are just like, "Die. Get it. We want you to die." And it's just like, geez, it's so stupid. And, at least the Martians in Mars Attacks are a little crafty about it. They pretend like they're the humans' friends at first, before they start pulling out the death rays.
Don't run. We are your friends.
But at the end of the day, I don't ask for realism in my science fiction. I'm not a stickler. I mean, the 2010s has been the decade of boring crap like The Martian and Interstellar and Gravity and Life and The Space Between Us. Do you remember The Space Between Us? When I saw the trailer for it, I thought it was a fake movie. I thought it was an M&M commercial, and the M&Ms were going to come on and be like, "Hey, go down to the concession stand and buy some M&Ms in this Space Between Us trailer," because it was just so garbage.
I was scared I wouldn't know how to be human. You made me human.
And I think in recent decades, or at least the 2010s, science fiction has become way too preoccupied with being all scientifically accurate and, "Oh no, this wouldn't happen in real life. We've got to make the Martian so that Mars is how Mars really is, a big red desert with nothing on it. No Martians, no Martian cities, no ack-ack. It's just a big desert." I mean, goddamn, can't anyone have any fun with science fiction anymore? So yeah, so long as a movie has death rays, I mean, I'm pretty much appeased. I mean, it's got death rays. I'm not gonna be like, this isn't realistic enough. It's got death rays. It's a fun movie. I mean, sure, the aliens are like the weakest aliens in cinematic history. That doesn't matter. This is a movie about independence, baby, shooting those aliens up. Pew, pew, getting those aliens with our human ingenuity and showing them what for.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
And you can't conquer us humans because we're special, man. We're the gosh darn center of the universe, and don't you forget it. Yes, you aliens may have conquered hundreds of other planets. When it comes to Earth, you're not going to take Earth. What a concept. This is back when sci-fi movies didn't have to be that high concept. Jeff Goldblum really brings us all to the table here. It's a shame Jeff Goldblum isn't in enough stuff nowadays. Sure, he's in Jurassic Parks 4 and 5 and 6 and Independence Day 2. I really just wish Jeff Goldblum would be in something awesome again like The Fly. And I think, out of all the movies that didn't need sequels, why make a sequel to Independence Day? It's not outdated. There's nothing in Independence Day you point to and go, ah, yes, that's a 90s thing right there. Like, nothing. There's nothing in Independence Day that wouldn't appeal to the youth of today. I mean, I guess maybe the fervent nationalism and the implication that America's special, or that Earth is special, but that's an intrinsic part of the franchise. I just mean, there's nothing about Independence Day that needs a sequel. It's a complete story, and it has a very calculated structure. July 2nd, the aliens arrive. They start shooting things up. July 3rd, it looks like, the options are out for humanity. And then July 4th, we kick back and we fight back and blow the aliens up. The end. That's all you need. Why do you need an Independence Day 2? At least it looks like Independence Day won't be getting like 5 sequels like Jurassic Park did. But Jesus, I am never going to watch the Independence Day sequel, because it just never needed to happen. We didn't need to see the aliens come back in a bigger ship and more things, another incredible spectacle or what. Screw that. All I need to see is one fight with aliens. I don't need to see the same thing over again. It's just so lame and so, tired. There's so many movies that actually do warrant a sequel because their stories are fun and can lead to more adventures that are interesting. Independence Day is not one of those movies. I mean, even if you're going with the cynical route that, Independence Day, the original, made a bunch of money, so the sequel will make a bunch of money. There are plenty of profitable movies of the past that made a bunch of money and people would like a sequel to and would be profitable and actually need a sequel and aren't just given a sequel because the first one was popular. I mean, what the heck? Who is watching all these weird sequels that nobody asked for and nobody cares about? When was the last time you heard someone mention Independence Day Resurgence? I mean, the Wikipedia article says it got horrible reviews and just a turd-level response. Who is watching? Who is paying money to see this? And the sequel didn't even come out on July 4th, which is the whole reason to make an Independence Day movie. It comes out on July 4th. This came out on July 2nd, but I mean, the sequel came out sometime in June. Why? Why would you put a movie that's set on July 4th out in June? That's just so stupid. I mean, maybe it would have made more money if they put it out on July 4th, or at least July 2nd, close to the holiday that people are celebrating and that this movie is all about. Just a suggestion. Anyway, Will Smith isn't in the sequel. I can definitely understand that. Props to him for turning it down. He's still got some good movies in him. Jeff Goldblum's in the sequel. Can't turn down that paycheck. Jeff Goldblum isn't offered any good roles these days anymore. He just picks up his role as the Jurassic Park guy, and hey, I'm the Independence Day guy. I used to be in good movies. Hey, remember me? I was in Earth Girls Are Easy with Gina Davis and Damon Wayans. Remember me? I used to be Jeff flippin' Goldblum, and now I'm just Jurassic Park guy forever. That's just really a shame.
Oh my God.
Anyway, yeah, this is definitely Bill Pullman's best movie. He packs the heat in this. He is a great president. I like it. And yeah, I'd recommend watching Independence Day. Sure, you might be a little offended by it, but at the end of the day, it's just a movie about aliens. Simmer down a little. And again, if you're not American, you don't gotta watch this. It's just a movie for Americans. If you're French or whatever, it's not your movie. That's okay. I do like how, this movie has a lot of representation. You got Will Smith as the wholesome black father, or he's not the father, but he has a nice family dynamic going on with his fiancée, who's a stripper, which is very provocative for the times. And then, of course, you have Jeff Goldblum and his Jewish dad. And I think that's very interesting to see Jeff Goldblum explore his Jewish identity, sorta. And I think the guy who plays his dad is very good in this, and very, very, very Jewish. On the Wikipedia article, there's a bit about how the part where Jeff Goldblum's dad sits down and conducts a Jewish prayer was censored in Israel, and Israel gave the justification that it was because it made Jewish people look good or something, which is not a reason to censor a movie. This movie has some very nice Jewish representation, but also, why did you get offended about a Jewish character saying a Jewish prayer if you're in Israel, which is a Jewish theocracy? My gosh. People, out of all the things that you could get ticked off over in Independence Day, that's not one of the things to get ticked off over. That's some nice Jewish representation, I think that's one of the things this movie actually does right, is even though it only gives like a 5-second montage to the entirety of Asia and Europe, it at least, shows a little, Jewish representation in America, which...
Everybody hold someone's hand. Hold hands.
Although just like in Mars Attacks, this one features a group of country bumpkins who are living in trailers. I just find that so weird and so coincidental that Mars Attacks and Independence Day share so much in common. They're not rip-offs of each other. Nothing ripped each other off. They just happen to be weirdly similar movies that came out the same year. But yeah, Independence Day, a fun movie. Watch it, check it out. You're not gonna be like, oh yeah, I hate Independence Day. This sucks. Because it's a fun movie. It's, like I said, it's not for the sci-fi fans out there. It's not interesting science fiction. It's not designed for people who care about cosmic questions or anything. It's not about man's search for the truth of the universe. It's just a big dumb spectacle about punching aliens in the face, and at the end of the day, it helped kickstart the career of Will Smith, the national icon, and that's pretty hot. And in this, his whole world gets turned upside down, and he realizes that he won't be relaxing and maxing anymore because he's Will Smith, and he's on the stairway to stardom. He's about to star in Men in Black, his best role, and then after that he'll star in Wild Wild West, his worst film role.
No, you don't want nada.
Anyway, yeah, Independence Day. It's an excellent movie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not a fun movie to watch on July 4th. This is the best movie you could watch on July 4th. Watch it, have fun, go bananas. It's a fun American movie aimed at Americans. It's not so much that I think Independence Day excludes the whole world except America. It tries. It shows like Egyptians being like, oh dang, it's an alien, or it shows a Muslim village at one point being like, oh dang, it's the wrath of Allah. I just think, if anything, when the aliens gonna blow up Denver, when's that gonna happen? I want to see that in a movie. I want to see the aliens blow up Denver. When are the aliens going to show up over Denver and start blowing us up?
Wow, 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 pickled parrots! I'm in Danvers, Colorado.
And quit worrying about New York and Los Angeles. Jeez. It gets old. Anyway, that's been my review of Independence Day. Check it out if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, happy 4th of July. Go out and watch some fireworks, flame up the barbecue, get those hot dogs going. And what rating do I give Independence Day? Well, I'm gonna have to give it 5 stars. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but it is such a fun movie and such a staple of cinema and, you know, the big blockbuster type format that I think it warrants 5 stars. This is the kind of movie you can watch and it won't get old and you'll be like, yes, I'm glad I watched this. It was undeniably fun, as David Denby from the New York Magazine says. So yeah, that's Independence Day for you. Really cool 3D cover. If you happen to find this, it'll probably have this 3D cover in a VHS form if you find it on VHS. And definitely a collector's item. I mean, that's just an awesome 3D effect. Just the UFO blowing up the White House again and again. Just such a cool animation. Anyway, that's going to be it for this installment of VHS Crazy. If you want to keep supporting these reviews, then I highly suggest you do that. I don't have a Patreon. I don't get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. So if you want to support me, you know what to do. Pull out that envelope, slap a stamp on there, and address it to Nicholas Cicada, 1424 Columbine Street, Denver, Colorado, 80206, and I will get to your order as soon as possible. Send in for a full catalog of Nicholas comics because I got some fresh content coming out pretty soon, and it's gonna blow your mind more than the guy at the end of Independence Day blows up the flying saucer by flying headlong into the big blue laser. That said, this has been yet another episode of Happy 4th of July, Americans. Happy whatever type day this is for you, rest of the world, and I am out.
I don't have time for this.